Hi, I'm Jay, and today we're tying a walleye pattern called Old Glory. Stay tuned. So, good morning. At the bench today, and I'm just finishing up a small order. I got a call from a customer about an old pattern. He ended up sending me a picture. I realized that he sent me the card that had 3 or 4 still stapled to it. It was my handwriting, and it was before we started putting the label at the top. So the card itself had to have been 6 years, at least 6 years old, if not older. And yeah, no problem. I'll tie up the pattern. The pattern was called Old Glory. It kind of works into the general theme of the last few videos, where I've been using colors that have been a little bit not normal to use. Some of those odd colors or off colors that we get, sometimes when you purchase things online, they don't always look like they did on the screen. Sometimes colors are washed out, etc. So, that's what we've been tying the last few videos, those odd kind of patterns, but had a lot of good feedback on some of those colors. So this pattern, I actually did, with all due respect to the jig, to people who would order this, it's a nice pattern, but I kind of refer to some of these types of patterns as gimmicky. Old Glory, red, white, and blue with a little tinsel to represent fireworks, right? I tied the pattern up around 4th of July, 5 or 6 years ago, at least. But this customer really wanted that. Thought I would turn the cameras on just so I can, we'll kind of watch me, and we'll have a quick talk about these last 4 that I have to do, 4 or 5. But it's a pretty pattern, and I don't mean to detract from it or talk down about it. Though these patterns, just like if we were tying something for Halloween or tying something for Christmas time, seem a little gimmicky. But this actually is a very good looking pattern. So I got these are all 5/8 is what I'm tying. The Barumba head, it's a walleye style jig with the blue epoxy. It's a nice bright blue, a nice dark blue. It's bright. It's on the is that a warm color? How does it come across on the screen? But we start with a red bucktail. This is an odd tail. I don't know where I bought it from, but they split it backwards so the white goes right up the middle. Maybe they didn't want to cut into the white, thinking that that's the part we use, right? And just like normal, restack the pinch. Now this is a 3-color jig, so you want your pinches to generally be about 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 of the amount of hair that you want. Once we get length of the body past the bend of the hook for the length of the tail, Keep this pinch nice and tight. I have this lovely white tail. The hair on it is so long. I should probably save this for other specialty type, you know, larger jigs or maybe big flies. But I'm a little too lazy to get under my table and pull out a fresh one. And I know I got 4 or 5 really big long tails like this. I'll just make sure the next one I pull out has hair that is more in the medium length. So here's that second pinch. I keep my left hand pinch tight throughout the whole process. Just helps me maybe not get that collar too wide. It helps keep the hair compact. So when you do let it go and it decompresses a little bit, it's on there tight. No need to glue your hair together from level to level, from color to color. This blue tail has, at least in this section that I'm pulling the hairs from, has a few broken tips. That's why I keep looking at that, at this pinch, just to see what I'm putting on the jig here. And for the flash on this jig, I have Krystal flash. It's number 3, Krystal flash number 3. This is the last of my package, so I'm just trying to get the last few hairs of this flash. Try not to waste too many. So I'm just pulling these right out of the plastic zip tie. And I'm going to put 3 right down each side, right down the lateral line. Trim it just a little bit short of the end of the tail. You can leave it long. Some tires like the tinsel to extend past the hairs. I try to keep everything fairly uniform. These are used primarily for walleye. Our belief is that, you know, if you got a couple long hairs or that tinsel extending past the tips of the tail, you get a bunch of light strikes because it's just tickling the nose of the walleye, right? Is that true? I'm not 100% sure, but that's what all the old timers say. Just gonna fill in this gap here, then build my collar, and we'll finish this off. Very pretty jig, even though I make fun of it. How'd we do? Red, white, and blue. Red size A thread on a blue head. And you have the red crystal flash on each side. Very pretty. So let's see. I got 4 more to do to complete this order. Weather here in central New York State has been absolutely awful for your average fisherman. It's rained every weekend for the last month and a half, almost 2 months. It's rained almost every day for the last 2 months. We'd have a couple days break in the weather. We just had Monday, Tuesday wasn't too bad this week, but today they're calling for thunderstorms this afternoon. This weekend looks like it's going to be a washout. So for your hardcore guys, they don't care. They're fishing in all sorts of weather. And maybe only the thunder and lightning will keep them indoors, but hoping for a little bit nicer summer in the next week or two. Definitely by 4th of July, right? One of the reasons why I'm using this whitetail is I'd like to use it up. I did pull it out and put it on my desk because I want the brown that goes up the back. It's a really nice color. It looks light, but when you pull these hairs up, it's a dark brown to black toned base with just the tips that nice tan color. So that's it's a really pretty natural brown that will I'm scheduling. I just painted up the heads. I don't know if you can see them right behind me over my shoulder, but I just painted up a bunch of brown heads and be tying some of that sandpike pattern that we've tied before. And I really like natural brown instead of a dyed brown, though you could use either or. But the natural brown tail, especially when they have the 2 or 3 different tones, you find the natural brown in 2 different ways. One like this tail, where it's really dark at the base with the tips that are light, and then sometimes you find them where it's just the different tones mixed in. So the hair will be all dark brown, the hair will be all light brown, the hair will be all medium brown, and then they're all mixed together that way. But either way, I think makes a really pretty, a very natural looking, a more natural looking presentation than just dyed colors. I find that if I am using the dyed brown, I'll mix it with maybe 2 colors. So I'll use a dark brown and maybe a root beer color, and then the white, just to show, you know, when the jig's in the water, the hairs will kind of move around a little bit, mix together to look a little bit more natural, right? I think when I first tied this Old Glory pattern, it was around 4th of July, but I was trying to come up with ideas to use up a bunch of, I painted extra blue heads, and I just had a few dozen extra that I didn't really want sitting in the inventory or in my file cabinet untied, just taking up space. So I just used the idea from the season, 4th of July, and tied up this pattern. I find it interesting in this. It happens often. I can't say all the time, but more than I would expect. But guys will see maybe a half a dozen jigs on a card sitting in a bait shop. They end up buying the rest. They'll just take the whole card off. So I've had guys call me and say, this is, can you tie me more of these? And they actually show me a picture of one of my cards, which is kind of nice. I'm sure the bait shops like to see that. Somebody that they're not just buying one here and one there, right? They're buying a bunch of jigs at a time. And let's take a look at this one. How'd we do? So that pattern we call Old Glory. Red, white, and blue with the red crystal flash. Blue head, red size A thread. Very pretty jig. It will catch all sorts of fish 4th of July. Guaranteed. So I think that's going to do it for us today. I will finish up these last 3. Got to give the customer a call. Make sure he gets a check in the mail, right? And then we're going to get back in front of the cameras. A couple more patterns I'd like to do using some of these oddball colors. If there's a color jig or color hair that you found interesting to use, or something that you have in your collection that you don't know even what to do with, put some comments down below. Maybe we can come up with a good idea together. But I think that's going to do it for us today. As always, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. Feel free to share any of our videos, as it does help increase awareness for the channel. Check out the website, jworthhandtied.com. I'll check to see if I have any extra heads. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 of these Old Glories. We'll stick them on the website for 4th of July. But until next time, guys, keep tying and tight lines.